You are now listening to Tech Tea Entertainment with your girl DJ SHEJAI,
Camila, and Reina Diya.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Tea Entertainment. This is your girl DJ SHEJAI.
And Reina Diya.
We're here today to interview two very special people. We have Professor Matt D and one of our students, Albert, aka Chikobeatz. Thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you guys for having me here today for the podcast. I'm really excited and looking forward to the questions you guys have for me and looking forward to what Matt has to say.
Thank you for having me as well.
Awesome. So the topic of today, during Mod 1, we had an assignment to do where we got to create a song. And surprisingly, our classmates are way more talented than we expected. I did not expect for them to put so much effort into this songwriting assignment, but they did.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to personalize it and make it as it wasn't just about a subject, but it was about a group of people that were attending the school. It was really fantastic the way you captured that.
Well, I got the idea from pretty much, I kind of did like most of the producing behind the song. So we have a student in our class named Lucas. He came up with the whole idea of the beat. And pretty much we just sat here, literally in this room here, and just started thinking, like, what should we talk about? And the first thing I thought about was the professor and the students. We're in the TOF room, by the way. This is where it all happened.
Oh, that's great. We're doing the interview in the same room you created the song.
So I just, decided to talk about the class, and we have my guy here, Chris. I know him as Magic. Pretty much he did the first verse. He helped me out with my verse, and then I had another student named Danny, which also helped me with the chorus part. So we all put that in together, and then I came up with the idea of trying to shout everybody out in the class. So, I went on Canvas, you got the attendance sheet, and then I took everybody's name and then I shouted it out. But then Jordan, which is George, that's in our class, he was like, let me just hop on that half verse, and he did his thing. He doesn't really speak good English, but he did his part in English. And so we took that part that I shouted out everybody, and we put it at the end of the song, and it came out. Perfect. The song came out.
Now my question for you, Professor Matt, did you expect to have a theme song from this group of kids?
Not at all. I was pleasantly surprised. Especially with the little nuances of like my infamous sayings like late and things like that.
Yes. I had to throw that in there.
That really caught me by surprise.
Oh yes. I had to throw that in there.
And I liked the shout outs at the end, all the classmates. That type of inclusion is really special. And I like that. Those are things that makes songs stand out, like people, when they feel like they're a part of it, even if they weren't really a part of it, getting a shout out really stands out and makes people feel special. So that was a really cool thing that you did with the track.
No, I appreciate that. Awesome. If it wasn't for you and everybody else in the class, you two ladies, like that's the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't think about nothing else, like we should talk about this now, class, and then we went with it.
Yeah, that was a really good idea.
Well, that's perfect. One last question for you, Professor Matt. Well, for me, I think Reina Diya might have a question for you.
No, you wrapped it up.
From an engineering standpoint, since we are going to an engineering school, what was the best parts of the song, and was there any parts of the song where they can improve on to make it even better?
Well, since you guys were Mod 1, I do remember like leveling kind of being an issue. The mixing, obviously you guys are going to get better. You haven't had a real mixing class yet. I just kind of give you guys an introduction to what mixing is and how it works. But once you guys get to Mod 3, when you look back on this project and be like, oh, I could have done this better and I could have done this better and we should have done that and whatever. But I mean, that's part of the process being in school. You learn every step of the way. So that was one of the things that I felt could have used some, improvement, just more leveling and like little mixing things. But you guys will get better as the mods go on.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Professor Matt. We do appreciate you coming in here at last minute. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you guys around in the hall.
All right, bye. So, Albert, you're a student here at SAE. What are your intentions and your goals while here at school?
I came with the intentions of learning more about like being a music producer and making beats and also. But coming here, you learn a lot. So I'm changing the route of learning live music, live like recording. Damn. TV to sound, all that good stuff. I don't know if I want to continue making beats, but I'm still learning, how to mix and produce. That's why I want to be like an engineer probably at the end of the day. But it's so much that you learn here that you don't know. I'm still like, ugh, I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like it's good though because since you'll have a lot of doors opening for you, you'll be able to choose what door you want to walk through.
Yeah, exactly. Even though my main goal is music still, but like producing and engineering and making beats is still my main focus. But as I'm going here, I'm learning so much more that I could probably do live sound at the same time. Maybe a couple of days later, help somebody engineer. I want to be versatile. Yeah, kind of like, yeah.
It'll be good too because you can mix your beats better now because
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
how it's supposed to be sounding.
Yeah, and if I'm engineering for somebody, I got beats or vice versa, help them engineer or just overall, if they're gonna do a live sound, I know I could help with that. Like, just all in all, since just like what Matt explained to us and how they tell us, it's just like being a mechanic. You just don't ask for the oil guy. You just ask for a mechanic, and he do everything for you in the car. So it's just like us, we're gonna do the same thing because we go to audio engineer. So it's like beyond DJing or singing. You get what I'm saying? So it's beyond that.
So how long have you been making beats for?
About 3 to 4 years now.
Okay, and what's your preferred DAW?
I use FL Studios.
Okay, now going to school, are you venturing out on DAWs?
Yes, of course, Logic, because I use GarageBand. At first, that's how I first started with GarageBand on the iPad, and then developed using FL when I ended up getting a laptop, and then from there, coming here, I seen Logic is almost similar to the GarageBand. But using Logic is another DAW that I want to learn too, because I felt like at one point of me, making music using FL Studios, I always have this mindset like, what if somebody calls me like you, and then we do an interview in a big room like this, or we work and I don't know how to use none of these Pro Tools and stuff. You know how Pro Tools is industry standard and all this, and I only know how to use FL, so I kind of wanted to come here and learn more.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Albert. Before we go, did you have any more questions for him?
No.
All right, well, make sure you go ahead and give us that Instagram drop. How can we reach you, listen to your beats?
Right now I have my Instagram, which is Chico Josue Beats, which is Chico with a K, and it's Josue Josue, and it's Beats with a Z at the end. If you want some beats, I don't have beats online. I just pretty much I work on personal basis with artists. I don't really send out my beats. I always want to work on personal basis, like sitting right next to me, like working.
Okay, dope. Well, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We have another special guest today that also worked with the 1904. We got Mr. Chris here from Mod 3.
Yes, from Mod 3.
So, how do you identify yourself? A beat maker, producer, songwriter, artist?
Artist.
An artist. Okay, so it looks like you wrote majority or helped write majority of 1904.
I did.
And let me say the lyrics was on point.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. What are your goals and your intentions here at SAE?
To better my craft, like as an overall artist, I started from just recording from my cell phone to going to studios, still recording from my cell phone. But, I came here to, be an engineer, obviously, like everyone else. But it's just to better my craft and just to be overall a better engineer, I guess, or have a better ear and sound. I don't know.
So how do you feel creatively when you're going through the creative process? How do you feel do you better create on? Like what do you usually gravitate towards? Do you gravitate towards producing, towards songwriting, towards
Songwriting, mostly. I don't know. Everybody has their different like creative spectrums of where they get their creativity from. So for me, it's, you know, like I said, I gravitate more towards songwriting because I usually just give like a piece of me in my lyrics, I guess, if that makes any sense. So I kind of like, I give you me.
That was it was really pure.
Thank you.
And when you're creating and you're in that songwriting space, when you have to open up and you have to get it down, do you record it on a digital audio workstation or do you just write it down, or how do you?
Well, it's a process. Like if I was to sit down and show you, you'd be like, what? Like, that's crazy how you do that on your phone. It starts off with my phone. I write it on notes. Then from notes, I just, you know, I write down what I say. I speak what I say, what I write down. And then I just play it back and I hear it and I'm like, okay, if it sounds good on the phone, I know that it can sound even better, like if I take it to like Pro Tools or stuff like that. Yeah. But if it sounds horrible, then I'm like, all right, I need to work on it. But yeah.
As you mentioned, that is Pro Tools your preferred DAW?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. It was mostly self-taught until I came to school, and it was a very frustrating process for me. It was super convoluted. It was super frustrating. It was just frustrating. It's the best word I can describe learning how to use Pro Tools like on your own. Coming to school, you know, obviously having experts, they help me out a lot.
They're able to guide you through the process.
Yeah.
So with you being my 3 and being in here at SAE, is there any advice, tips, or tricks you can give other students?
I mean, the best thing for you to do is just stay in your hours. Like you have to just be on point with your hours. You can have a really good grade, but if your hours are not up to standard, it doesn't really matter. That's the best thing I can really say. And just, you know, be kind to like other students here, because everyone's an artist and everyone's sensitive. So.
Aww. Well, thank you so much for that. Make sure you definitely drop your IG. How can we get in contact with you or listen to anything that you may have out there?
I don't have IG.
All right. So we know social media?
Okay. The social media is O, like the 0 O G dot magic. But it's not magic with a C, it ends with a K.
Is this on Instagram?
Yeah, it's my Instagram.
I thought you just said you didn't have an Instagram.
I know, I was SoundCloud, my SoundCloud is being, like, I'm rebuilding it. Like, best thing I say about my SoundCloud is I'm trying to, like, rebrand myself, if that makes sense.
You're revamping.
Yeah.
You're basically just trying to transition through who you were back then creatively to who you are now.
Exactly, yeah.
I think you guys have a connection from the songwriting standpoint.
Yeah, truly, as a songwriter, I understand. It goes from writing it down on my phone to writing it down on a notepad. Yeah. So I get it.
She's smart.
Also, he's engineering this episode. So shout out to you, Chris. What?
Well, perfect. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me.
And now for your listening enjoyment, 1904 theme song titled 1904.
Shout out to Matt, said he mixed with Pharrell. Then it's Marco Yanelli, then Gary Tabari. We late, but I didn't hear no bell. Happy birthday, I look up, what the hell? I'ma need all of my hours. Matt better stop playing, he know I can't use no logic. Pro Tools and Ableton, looking at interfaces. Oh my God, it's so ugly, I promise. I'ma need me that grade, I'ma need me that A. I don't play no games. Shout out to Vincent for taking that 23 out of my bank. Shout out to Daniel and Johnny. Gary be stashing the body. Alejandro, he be gnarly. Welcome to 1904. Every day good, yeah, you know it's a party. Spending 20 bands, 20 bands, 23, 1904, we can't take no more. Nah, 5 hours in, yeah, we can't be late. Matt plus the grade, yeah, we gon' be great.
I don't rap, I make beats, yeah. If you want beats, it's a fee, yeah. Chico Ho swear I'm unique, yeah. Nike all on my feet, yeah. Shout out to Matt, he preaching, yeah. The school want my money, they lead, yeah. Shout out to my classmate, hold on.
Yeah, it's Jordan, ready to put all in order. I either rap, but I will make tracks for stacks. We all gonna make it to the final day. You not on my 90th birthday. We do this every day.
1904. Spending 20 bands, 20 bands, 23, 1904, we can Great.
Shout out Jason, shout out John, Jonathan, George, Eric, Milky, Danny, Marco, Camilla, Yanelli, Gary, Jasmine, Jay, Lucas, Mike, Tabari, David, Adrian, Adonis, Q, Alejandro, and Toto.
Spending 20 bands, 2020 bands. 23. 1904, we can't take no more. 5 hours in, yeah, we can be late. Late.
And that's another episode of Tech Tea Entertainment, the only place to get your tea on tech.